Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to jump into this one with you because we are tackling what is, honestly, one of the most fascinating topics in all of biology. We're looking at the ultimate biological what-if scenario. What if our bodies could just rebuild themselves perfectly? Now, I know it sounds like pure science fiction, but the foundations for this are actually rooted in real science and the natural world right around us. So get ready, because we are about to rethink literally everything we know about human healing.
Just imagine this for a second. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a completely different kind of human body. Picture a scenario where you accidentally cut your finger, and instead of a scab forming and leaving this permanent scar, the tissue just slowly, flawlessly grows back. Or say you lose a tooth, and boom, a brand new one just naturally appears in its place. Let's take it even further. Imagine a damaged organ entirely rebuilding itself inside you. In the absolute most extreme version of this, we're talking about an entire lost limb regenerating. No way, right? It sounds totally impossible, but as we're going to see, nature's actually already figured this whole thing out.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The power to rebuild.
So look at the stark contrast in biological strategies we've got going on here. We all know how human bodies handle damage, right? You get a small cut, the cells around that injury multiply, they repair the immediate damage, and they close the wound up. But that's usually where it stops. Instead of rebuilding the exact original structure, our bodies prioritize patching the hole as fast as possible, which almost always means scar tissue. But some animals, they operate completely differently. Take the axolotl, for example. These amazing little creatures can regenerate entire limbs and repair complex tissues. How? Well, their cells can basically switch into a much more flexible state. This allows them to completely rebuild complex structures entirely from scratch, rather than just quickly patching up the damage.
So what if human cells had that exact same flexible ability? It would require a fundamental, massive shift in our biological messaging. Instead of your body sending the command to simply repair the wound and lay down a bunch of scar tissue, your body could issue a completely new command: rebuild the entire structure. Changing just this one fundamental biological instruction would completely alter the human experience. I mean, injuries would no longer be permanent alterations to our physical forms.
Moving on to Section 2. From teeth to limbs.
2. That number represents the sets of teeth humans naturally get: baby teeth and adult teeth. And that is it. If you lose one as an adult, you're looking at artificial replacements. But in a world with human regeneration, losing a tooth wouldn't mean a dreaded trip to get a synthetic implant. Your body could simply grow another one. The entire field of dentistry would look completely unrecognizable. Instead of drilling and replacing damaged teeth with porcelain or metal, dentists might potentially just administer a treatment that triggers your own cells to rebuild the missing tooth entirely naturally.
But teeth aren't even the most impressive possibility here. If regeneration became advanced enough, we could scale this up to our vital organs. Think about the liver. Now, normally, the human body already has some natural ability to repair liver tissue, though it definitely isn't unlimited. With powerful regeneration, that damaged tissue could be rebuilt much more completely. But then look at the heart. A damaged heart is an especially serious medical crisis precisely because heart muscle doesn't regenerate nearly as effectively as other tissues do. But if humans had this advanced regeneration ability, your body might be able to replace damaged heart cells with brand new, fully functional ones. Instead of relying entirely on artificial valves, pacemakers, or terrifying waiting lists for donated organs, doctors might eventually just activate the patient's own regenerative system.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate hurdle. What if you lost a finger or an entire arm or leg? Regrowing the limb is where things become incredibly complicated. A limb isn't just a solid chunk of one type of tissue, right? To rebuild it, your body has to recreate a massive list of components: bones, muscles, blood vessels, skin, nerves, tendons, the whole shebang. And it's not just about making them. It's an enormous biological engineering problem. Every single thing has to appear in the exact correct location, in the precise order, with highly sophisticated connections. Even the nerves would need to reconnect flawlessly so your brain could actually control the new limb. But if evolution somehow solved this for humans, major physical injuries would become far less permanent.
Let's look at Section 3. Immortality and biological dangers.
Now you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, if humans can just regenerate their cells, wouldn't we basically become immortal? Well, not necessarily. While regeneration is absolutely incredible at repairing localized injuries, aging is a much more complicated systemic process.
Over time, your cells accumulate really complex changes. Your DNA itself can become damaged, your immune system fundamentally alters how it operates, and your organs gradually just lose their overall function. Having the ability to regenerate a lost finger wouldn't automatically stop this complex accumulation of aging. However, if humans could somehow regenerate aging tissues extremely effectively throughout the whole body, scientists might be able to dramatically slow some aspects of aging down. But there is a massive danger attached to this.
The crucial point you have to remember is this: cells multiplying isn't automatically a good thing. Your body requires extremely precise control over when cells divide and, just as importantly, when they stop. If regeneration went wrong, cells could grow uncontrollably. And this is exactly why true regeneration is such a difficult biological puzzle to solve. Your body would need a flawlessly sophisticated system issuing commands like, grow here, make this specific type of cell, and crucially, stop now, do not grow beyond this exact point. Getting even one of these instructions wrong could cause serious biological problems like aggressive cancers. So we wouldn't just need the power of regeneration, we would absolutely require perfect control over it.
Moving to Section 4, How Society Would Change. Let's walk through this incredible ripple effect. Emergency medicine? It would be completely unrecognizable from today. Injuries from accidents that are currently life-changing or permanently disabling could potentially become vastly easier to treat, functioning more like temporary inconveniences. In the realm of sports, devastating career-ending injuries might just no longer carry the same weight. Organ transplantation, with its incredibly long waiting lists and risks of rejection, could become much less important if we could just repair our own failing organs. Even prosthetic technology, which is advancing so rapidly right now, would have to evolve in a completely different direction, perhaps focusing on enhancing the human body rather than just replacing missing parts.
But this brings us to a very real look at a potential societal hurdle: access. If unlocking human regeneration requires highly complex, incredibly expensive medical treatments, it might initially only be available to the very wealthy. And this presents a scenario where a massive gap could open up in society. We're talking about an extreme difference between those who can simply pay to regenerate failing organs and damaged tissue and those who must rely on traditional, much less effective healing. It's a profound economic and societal shift that would naturally accompany scientific breakthroughs of this magnitude.
And finally, Section 5, the ultimate biological mystery.
Perhaps the most fascinating question here isn't can humans regenerate, but rather, why don't we already do it? The wild truth is that our bodies already possess many of the basic genetic and cellular tools needed for this kind of advanced repair. The blueprints, they are literally already in our DNA. Some animals, like the axolotls we talked about earlier, have just taken those existing abilities much further. Because of this, scientists today are intensely studying animal tissue formation and regeneration. They're trying to decode exactly how these animals control cell growth and healing, hoping to understand why our human abilities are locked away, and how we might one day safely activate these dormant abilities within ourselves.
So imagine that future, a future where a serious injury doesn't have to mean permanent damage, where failing organs just rebuild themselves, and where the human body is more resilient than we ever thought possible. It sounds totally impossible today for sure, but nature has already proven to us time and time again that regeneration is entirely possible. The basic tools are already there inside us, so the only real question left to ask, and the one I want to leave you pondering today, is this: how much of that incredible ability can humans eventually unlock? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.